Right off the bat, let's go to the pronunciation of this amazing month. 2 ways you can pronounce it: February, the way it's spelled, or February, the way most people say it. I am like most people, so during this podcast, I will be saying February, not February, although it's fun to try and say that. So already off the bat, we are in a fascinating month. February is a powerhouse of history, of the past, and the power of the present, and are launching us into the future. So take a deep breath, fasten your energetic seatbelts, hold on to your hats, and let's dive into the gifts that February has for you and the power that in this moment in your life, as you receive this, in the ever-present now, is ready to blossom and come to you for your full use. So I want to start by telling you that I did some research just into where the name February comes from, and that sent me on such a deep-ish dive into the history of February that delighted and amazed me. So I want to start by sharing the classic things we know about February and also the history of February. I can't even say it right now. February. Did you ever see a little kid, when they're learning to speak, try to say some of the words that we have cultivated, like February? Or even library. That's a hard word to say, too. Something about those R's and Y's can be difficult for at least the Western-speaking person or the English-speaking person, or specifically me. So February has a lot of facts about it that we know. We know it's the shortest month of the year. It's like the Rhode Island of the U.S. It's the smallest month of the year. We know that it has Groundhog Day in it, for those that are familiar with Groundhog Day. And for those that haven't seen the movie Groundhog Day with Bill Murray, is it Bill Murray? Yes. Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell, and also Chris something. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, I can't remember his last name. He was also in There's Something About Mary, which is another genius movie. But the Groundhog Day message, I think, is foundational for all of us human beings about what the purpose of life is. The purpose is to learn, to love, to serve, to revel in this existence, and to share it with others with great appreciation for their journey as well. So there's Groundhog Day. There's also the Super Bowl for American football fans. I really do like the commercials in the Super Bowl. I don't know that I've watched an entire Super Bowl from start to finish. Perhaps when the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl a few years ago, that I did watch because I was with people who were devotees of the subject of football, people that I love. What else does February have? Well, Valentine's Day. I used to think that Valentine's Day was some trumped up Hallmark card holiday, and in fact it may be that. And as I come into more wisdom with myself and more compassion for this business of trying to love, I really do appreciate Valentine's Day. I appreciate that we commemorate. I have no idea who St. Valentine is. I did not look that up. But we commemorate loving. And I would like us to expand that so much more than romantic love into all the facets of love. I really did enjoy shopping with my children when they were wee to get their different Valentines that they would give to everyone in their class with a little sweetheart on it or some sort of candy. And that those things that are written on the candy, like "Be mine." I mean, isn't that the sweetest thing? I'm going to ask you in this moment, for this moment, without any loss to your authority or your life path, will you be mine? I would love you to be mine. Like Mr. Rogers, won't you be my neighbor? Thank you for being my receiver of this podcast and letting the energy of the month of February delight you and enliven you and strengthen you, as it has the capacity to do. It might take you to your knees first, though. Let's see, some other things in February that we know about. February is Black History Month, And I've heard before people talk about why is the shortest month of the year given to remember African Americans and Black people and their contributions. And I did look that up, and here is what I found as the origin of Black History Month is. Black History Month was actually Black History Week in the beginning. In 1926, the Association for the Study of African American Life and History chose the second week in February to celebrate the contributions of African Americans. And the reason why the second week in February was chosen is because it coincided with the birthdays of Frederick Douglass and Abraham Lincoln, two men who played a prominent role in the abolishment of slavery. And then later, a whole month was adopted from Black History Week. So that quelled some of my concerns, and I'm also very grateful because February has, it's the smallest, hugest month that I could imagine right now. It is littler, not by much, and it packs a punch. Whether you're in the Northern Hemisphere, where it's the last full month of winter, or you're in the Southern Hemisphere, where it's the last full month of summer, or you're in a more temperate climate that still follows the conventional calendar year, February is either on the cusp of a new season, spring or fall, which are great transition seasons, or it is the second month of a new year where we're settling in to the new date even. By February, we're probably not making mistakes with writing the year on whatever we write it on. And February 2022, when this broadcast is being sent out into the Ethernet, 2022, all these twos. I love master numbers. I love 2022. I'm going to be having a retreat on 2022 to bring in a new day. I love this idea of pairing, that twos bring us into pairs, to repair, to prepare, to sync up when we pair our Bluetooth devices. February is giving us the energy from the power and the solitude of one into the collaborative strength of the seeming two that are playing from the foundation of the one. So that's my numbers bit there. Let's see, is there anything else in February? Well, also there's President's Weekend in the U.S. that also commemorates presidents. And I would say, I'm going to take a deep breath so that I can pour forth, whoosh, the energy of compassion over the role of a president, whether it be of the United States or another country or a company or whatever it may be, a PTO. Let's just rush compassion, which is love and wisdom, tempering each other. I learned that compassion from a Buddhist teacher many years ago was love tempered with wisdom. And what I think that is that huge heart that also has a greater perspective of what's needed to be loving in a moment, that maybe a human wouldn't know if we just rushed in to act in a way that was probably codependent and caretaking and not so good in the long run, keeping people more dependent rather than helping them be independent or interdependent, which I think is a beautiful concept. So those are the things I know about February. One thing I know about February about the classic facts as we interface with them today is that African American Month is in February in the US and Canada, but in the Netherlands and the UK, it's observed in October. How great is that? Maybe a little Oktoberfest they're having with that. And February also has some birthdays of people that I love, including my dear friend Donna, and also the birthday of Avatar Meher Baba, the Indian spiritual master and avatar of the age. And I just love his life, his teachings, and his legacy. No longer in the body. They provide a foundation for my life now. So February is a very cool month in many ways. And I'm sure you have your own personal associations with the month of February. Perhaps wonderful things happen to you in February. Perhaps painful things happen to you in February. in February of 2019, I believe on February 5th, my younger brother Stephen had a stroke and he skedaddled to the other side on February 16th. And now that it's coming upon the 3-year anniversary of his skedaddle to the other side date, I think 3 years brings a lot of feelings of completion of the intensity of the pain of loss of someone we love, and where they become a memory, a joyful memory in a new way. I'm very much appreciating the power of February with that. So thank you, February. Thank you, thank you. Let's anthropomorphize February like I like to do, and imagine that February is sitting across from you. February can take any form, any gender, any animal, any shape. And I'm going to now ask February, tell me about how you came to be. I don't really know much about the origins of the month of February. And February, now through the voice of me again, since I'm playing all the roles on this play, which we really are, it said playing all the roles, like the divine is playing all the roles, and we just pretend to be separate for the fun of the game. Like Shakespeare, all the world's a stage, and we are merely players, performers, and portrayers. Maybe that's right, but I know that more from the band Rush, or whoever it was in the 80s, and skiing down a mountain in Western New York where I lived, listening to that song being broadcast, as well as the band Styx playing the song Babe. So we're going to go back to February and the origins of February. Did you know that in the original Roman calendar upon which we are based, there was no January or February? That for the season or the period of time that we now know as January and February, time was just not marked or recorded. I don't understand how that could possibly be, but that's what I read on the great and all-powerful Oz called the internet. So a year started on March 1st, that was New Year's Day, and the last day of the year was December 31st. And then January and February were just like, whoa. And it was said because since the cycle of time was recorded based on planting and harvesting, and since January and February, formerly known as just the timeless wasteland, nothing really happened there. There was no recording of it. I don't understand how they knew when March 1st would come and that, but I'm sure somebody knows that. I'm sure you could look that up too if you wanted to, and you could even write me and tell me or comment below. So what happened was, by the time the second king of Rome took the scene around 750 BC, the Romans decided to add 2 more months to their year to sync up their calendar with the lunar cycles, which they were calling 12 lunar cycles at the time, which would be the amount of time to thinking the earth could revolve around the sun. What's true now that we know today, there are 13 lunar cycles, 13 cycles of the moon around the earth. I hope I'm saying that right. I mean, I could be saying something wrong. Please correct me and inform me if I am. And 13 is very interesting, by the way. This podcast is going to be different than some of my others because it's rich with facts that I find fascinating. And I find anything beginning with the word F, anything, people, really anything, very fabulous this month and something we should focus on fanatically with faith and fun. And that other F word I know you're thinking. So, 13 lunar cycles also corresponds to the way a woman's body from adolescence and through menopause moves in time with the moon and the tides. That menstruation is linked to the full moon and ovulation is linked to the new moon. And that in these 13 cycles, especially when women are together and they are energetically synced up, which let me tell you what that was like in a college dorm. That was hilarious back in the day. But that 13, why it became an unlucky number, I have read, and there's many other theories about it, but I have read that 13 became an unlucky number because a more male-dominated society had fear around the power that a woman's body had and the ability it had to move in time with the heavens and with the oceans and with each other. And so 13 became an unlucky number. And by the way, There is actually a phobia for people that have about the number 13. And the name is, are you ready for this? Triskaidique phobia. I don't know. I'm just going to spell it for you. Triskaidicaphobia. Triskaidicophobia. It's the fear of the number 13. And there's actually another phobia that's the fear of Friday the 13th that is that same name with another word in front of it, which I don't know at this moment. So I like to inhabit the 13th now as a wonderful number that makes me remember that I'm part of something greater, that my body, my temporary human form, moves in time with the great forces of the planets and of this earth. How wonderful is that? But let's go back to early Rome. So they decided to add January and February. And so what they did was January was named after Janus, the Roman god. And that Roman god looked forward and backwards, could really see in perspective. And that makes sense with beginning a new year or ending an old one. And the name February comes from a Roman festival that's something called like Februaria. And that was a festival of purification, of atoning, of cleaning out, of preparing for the spring harvest. And in a rare turn of events, normally a festival is named after a Roman god, but in this case, the Roman god February was named after the festival. And the Roman god February is the Roman god of purification who lives in the underworld. And just to add another fact in, later on, his name was changed to Pluto. But we didn't change the month to Plutoary. We kept it with February. So back to early Rome. These 2 months each had 28 days in them until the king decided to add an extra day to January to make the year 355 days long, because unlucky numbers were considered to be even numbers, and 354 day was an unacceptable unlucky number of days for a year. So the Romans were getting closer, but no cigar. The calendar had its flaws because it worked well for a few years, but soon the seasons became so out of sync with the typical months due to the discrepancy of what a full year actually is. So to fix it, the Romans added a leap month called Mercedonius. And that month would occur whenever the Roman high priests decided it would occur. And I want to tell you, could you imagine the havoc it wreaked? So soon that became an unacceptable option. And then Julius Caesar came on the scene. And in 46 BCE, he introduced the Egyptian solar calendar to the Roman world and gave us, that we now follow, the 365-day calendar year. And for some reason, he left February at 28 days. Here's a cool thing, too. February 29th was not reflected on the calendar, but February 23rd was repeated every 4 years instead. I mean, let me tell you, if you don't understand this, I don't kind of understand it either. I just think it's crazy fascinating and worth repeating, and certainly do some research into this if you like. So here we have now, we're more into a 365-day year, but Earth actually takes 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46 seconds to go completely around the sun. I'm going to say it again. 365 days, 5 hours, 48 minutes, and 46 seconds to go completely around the sun. And this is called what we call now a solar year. So, in order to keep the solar year synchronized with the seasons, 1 extra day is added every 4 years now, as we know, called February 29th, or leap year. Now, I know you may be asking yourself, what happened to those extra 11 minutes and 14 seconds if you are doing some extra math and finding out that this new calendar doesn't account for everything? So what happened was Pope Gregory XIII in 1582 created a slightly modified calendar called the Gregorian calendar now to account for those missing minutes. And so if we had leap year every 4 years, that wouldn't work. So we can only have leap year in years divisible by the number 400. That's what Pope Gregory and his team came up with, and it works. So a century like 1900 wouldn't have a leap year. but a century like 2000 would, because it's divisible by 400. Now, what Pope Gregory did, I think, was amazing too. In order, once they figured this out, they wanted to correct the calendar. So they eliminated October 5th through the 14th in 1582 and just started on October 15th with the new calendar. I mean, I love to say that time is an illusion. I mean, it's a great illusion. It's a fun illusion or a painful illusion, depending on your perspective. But that we change the clocks back, having to do with daylight savings or not, or this whole business here, shows us that we really do have some mastery over time that we can work with. And what I have been learning to do is to work with time from the energy that made time. So as we move more into this month of February, let yourself be receiving the energy that made time, the energy that made a calendar month, that made Earth revolve around the sun. You have that power within you. I do too. And we're playing in it right now. But I still have some other fun facts. So we didn't adopt February or Februarius or whatever the Latin was right away. There were some old English names for these months, and specifically February, which I think are fascinating. So February was, in Old English, one of the names was Solmonath, Solmonath, which literally means mud month. Yeah, I can get when snow and mud, it's pretty muddy. And another term was Kaelmonath, like the vegetable kale, Monath, which was translated as cabbage month. So here we are in mud month or cabbage month. I mean, mud is fun. I mean, mud pies and all that kind of stuff. And cabbage is a hardy crop, and there's a lot of nourishment in it. And I think it's good for your brain too. I think like some nutrition is not rocket science. If it looks like something that you have in your body, probably eat some of it. Like eat some kidney beans for your kidneys. Eat some cabbage for your brain. And the last thing that I didn't quite understand about leap year, the February having a leap year in it, is that for some reason, I just thought that we leapt from February 28th to March 1st. That's how we were doing it. So it doesn't make sense to me why February 29th would be a leap year, because we're actually not leaping that year. But what happens in a year that we add February 29th is that holidays that come on a specific date every year, like Christmas on December 25th, every year, normally it would advance one day. Christmas would be on a Tuesday, and then the next year would be on the Wednesday. But when there's a leap year, it would go from Wednesday to Friday, not Wednesday to Thursday, hence the term leap year. So I'm so grateful to be educated in the fascinating history of February and why we're actually doing things today with having to do with February. And then we get to now immerse ourselves in the present moment energy of February. Specifically, this moment that you find yourself in. February has a lot of energy in it for us right now. And in the beginning of February, the first month of February, it might be some poopy caca energy. It might be some intense strife-filled suffering energy. But what's coming for us in February, specifically after the 7th of the month, is a rush of, I'll call it, green light energy. That you can use this powerhouse of pure fuel to reinforce your defense structures, your victimizations, your views of the world that lead to apocalyptic scenarios. Or you can use this energy, as the festival in ancient Rome did, to purify yourself, to atone, to be at one, to atone, to find humility for the ways of thinking and being that didn't bring you everything that you know you can have, and certainly didn't add to the well-being and joy of others. And let yourself now revel and immerse yourself in the true energy of the word purification, or to purify. It's really to have a pure, clear channel to the energy of your soul, to the energy of that love that springs spontaneously from within, that's not forced or coerced. It's an open line to understand and to be aware of when you're acting from those places that are still in a lower vibrational current. And that with that awareness, or that purity to be able to see, you can bring onto your lap, like a fussing toddler, and let it dissolve and melt and elevate with that pure energy that comes from your soul. So I love that February is about purifying our channel to our infinite power, to the infinite power, to however you know the greater. And that February is immersing us into a new life, a new way of being, a new hope for humanity, and specifically you. I love the notion of Cupid's arrow, the force of eros, which is that force of falling in love. And eros, what eros does, that energy of new love, it dissolves your defense structures to loving that you've built as a child or in whatever phase of your life. And it allows you to love freely. But after a certain time, eros wanes a little after Cupid's arrow has struck. And the purpose of that is not to then saddle you with some person that isn't who you thought they were. It's for you then to be able to see those defenses that had been dissolved in those moments of eros and pure falling in love, and to dismantle them yourself with consciousness and awareness so that you can be a mature lover. And a mature lover is a fun lover, is a passionate lover, is a forgiving lover, is a playful lover, is an intelligent lover. So all of this benefit that comes even with Cupid's arrow and eros, letting yourself purify those parts of you that get hindered by fear or doubt and that have bound you by routine that no longer serves, by defense mechanisms that have just soothed the terror but have not dealt with the underlying core of addressing whether, as Einstein said, are you in a friendly universe or one that's not friendly? It's time. Every person has to make a decision whether humanity, whether existence is essentially benevolent of the benefit for all of us, or whether it is a separate, conscious, cruel joke of whatever the universe is made of. I so wholeheartedly embrace the friendly universe, another wonderful F word. And I so wholeheartedly encourage you to see what choices of thought, feeling, action, writing, movement or non-movement you make from a paradigm of an entirely benevolent universe that wants to serve you, or one that is hostile and harsh. And encourage you to see how you perceive that in other people. I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that shame never liberated a spirit, and self-righteousness never opened a heart. If we want to bring liberation to ourselves and to others, we need that compassion, that love and wisdom to understand why we act the way we do that's hurtful to ourselves and others, and why other people do that, and start to build a new foundation in this F month to fall in love with the process of creation, of collaboration, of harmony, of imagination. Oh, people, you've heard me say it before, your imagination is the same power that made the heavens and the earth. And where you channel it has everything to do with the outcome for you and for all of us here on this precious planet. So I'm taking a deep breath, a deep relaxing breath in this moment, letting all of these facts or factoids, who knows what's actually true about the history of February? It was fun to explore. But what I know to be true is that in this eternal now, in this moment, we are free. We are free to breathe. We are free to bask in oneness, however you perceive that. And know in this moment that you have the opportunity to discover your true nature. You are love personified. And in the person that is you, this power of love, which is way more than like, this power of love that acknowledges and creates from oneness, from infinite power, infinite love, infinite bliss, infinite knowledge, infinite forgiveness, infinite potential, is in the palm of your hand right now to draw your body, your mind, your world, our world, in the way in which your purest heart desires. Let February be a month that your energetic heart, that is actually much deeper than even your heart chakra or your physical heart, your energetic heart that is deep within the infiniteness of your being and has full access to the eternal heart, the original creative energy. You can access this and direct it. And this is natural momentum, natural rest, natural activity, and natural slowing down. Let your heart beat in time with the universal heart, with the divine heart. And let your heart sync up in the healthiest, coherent vibrations with the hearts of those around you and the hearts of every sentient being, including our planetary mother. And then let your body be infused with radiant health, with youth, with beauty, with alignment, with that true north deep within you. And let yourself immerse everyone you know in your presence. Can you imagine right now you being in a radiant orb of golden light radiating to everyone you know? This benevolent, all-powerful truth that love alone is real, that nothing is real but love, but God, but Great Spirit, but Jesus, Buddha, all the different ways we know the greater. And nothing matters but love for this infinite source within us and around us. That love syncs us up, pairs us up in the twos, repairs the seeming separateness, and brings us back to our originating energy and the originating force that made the heavens and the earth, that is here for you to direct and use. Oh, dear wonderful person, enjoy this ride called February. And for now, I will send you, as always, my love and blessings. Mwah.